It's 5 p.m. right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Welcome to the World Today. I'm Ann Nwawado. Here's what's coming up on the program. South Korea's impeached president arrested after investigators scale walls to take him into custody. High winds fan wildfires in Los Angeles as authorities warn of extreme fire danger. Death toll rises to 25. Plus, Nigeria honors fallen heroes in 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Once again, welcome to the World Today. We begin in South Korea, where Yoon Suk-yeol has become the country's first sitting president to be arrested after investigators scaled barricades and cut through barbed wire to take him into custody. Well, Mr. Yoon's dramatic arrest on Wednesday brings to an end a week-long standoff between the investigators and his presidential security team. Just before dawn on Wednesday, 3,000 police officers arrived at the heavily fortified residence of South Korea's suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol. Their mission was to arrest him. Investigators used ladders to scale over buses and bolt cutters to get through barbed wire as they broke through multiple blockades designed to stop them. Others hiked up nearby trails to reach the presidential residence. Hours later, they arrested him. This was their second attempt. Their first, which took place earlier this month, had seen some 150 officers face a 6-hour deadlock with the president's security detail. The 64-year-old is being investigated on charges of insurrection for a failed martial law order on December the 3rd that plunged the country into turmoil. While hundreds of supporters of South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol have been protested his arrest in front of the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials building in the city of Gwacheon on Wednesday. The protesters are saying the protest is invalid. Mr. Yoon has been questioned by authorities in relation to a criminal insurrection investigation, and he says he was only cooperating with what he calls the illegal probe to avoid violence. His arrest, the first ever for an incumbent South Korean president, is the latest head-spinning development for one of Asia's most vibrant democracies, even though the country has a history of persecuting and imprisoning former leaders. Since lawmakers voted to impeach him and remove him from duties after his short-lived December 3 declaration of the martial law, Mr. Yoon has been holed up in his hillside residence, guarded by a small army of presidential security that blocked a previous arrest attempt. And turning our focus now to the waging wildfires in California, winds have fanned that inferno in the U.S. city of Los Angeles, again expected to peak up. This comes as a 25th death from the huge week-long outbreak has been confirmed. Forecasters have again identified an area of extreme fire danger, emphasizing the risk of level of the region to the northwest of the city center. The anticipated increase in wind speeds threatened to further fan the remaining 4 blazes, which firefighters have made further progress in tackling during the few days of calmer conditions. There are hopes of another drop in wind speeds, and that's after today, but officials have highlighted the need for rain that will help fire crews in their battle. The 25th death was confirmed by the LA County Medical Examiner's Office. 13 other people are still missing. Most of the victims have died in the 18th fire, which has burned more than 14,000 acres to the city's north, but has now been 35% contained by firefighters. Further west, the larger Palisades fire has torched more than 23,000 acres, is now at 18% containment, and 2 smaller fires have also continued to burn. Meanwhile, Los Angeles firefighters have braced for a return of dry, intense winds that could recharge the 2 monstrous wildfires there. Speaking at a briefing on Tuesday morning, firefighters warned residents that despite greater containment of the fires, the danger has not passed. There is also a red flag warning in place, which the Weather Service designated as a rare, particularly dangerous situation, raising fears that new fires could ignite and the existing blazing could re-energize. skies. But the death toll is up to 25 now, as we told you earlier, with several people still missing. The inferno has now leveled the entire neighborhood, scorching an area of the size of Washington, D.C.
For the last 2 days, we've had no increase in acreage at the Eaton fire, and it remains estimated at 14,117 acres with 35% containment. We know that over 7,000 structures are damaged or destroyed, and we have 3,235 firefighting personnel assigned to the incident. Severe fire weather conditions will continue through tomorrow. The worst winds are predicted today for the late afternoon and into Wednesday. Please be assured that the Los Angeles County region is prepared. The anticipated winds, combined with low humidities and low fuel moistures, will keep the fire threat in the LA region critical. We have checked the water system in the Eaton fire area, and it is operational, meaning that we have water and we have pressure. Repopulation will not occur until all areas are safe, period. Resources are available for residents impacted by wildfire at lacounty.gov/emergency. And I'm happy to report that the LA County CL-415 Super Scooper that was damaged by the drone will be available for response starting at 11 a.m. today.
And as the firefighters hold the line against the two massive wildfires for the past week, search and rescue teams have been combing through charred remains of homes. These search and rescue groups, consisting of approximately 400 members, have been deployed to the Eaton fire. While the California Fire Information Officer Robert Foxworthy says that crews are doing a methodical process of moving through the area, looking for hazards, possibly any victim that may have made it out of that fire. Some teams worked from the Tanzania grocery store parking lot, tracking progress on whiteboards and handing out assignments from inside a trailer.
The search and rescue groups are strategically moving through the area. Every single affected structure within the fire perimeter will be searched. So crews are doing a methodical process of moving through the area, going to every individual structure and searching it, looking for hazards, possibly searching for any victims that may not have made it out of the fire, and they will continue to do this until they cover the entire fire area. When we normally have an incident like this, there isn't quite this amount of search and rescue operations, just due to the fact that there isn't many incidents that we've had that's had this much damage and destruction. So it's a considerable amount of structures to search, thousands, and it's going to be a long process.
And as Californians cope with the trauma and the massive destruction from the wildfires, the humanitarian spirit is up and alive as donations keep pouring in for survivors and the victims who have lost everything. The huge donation center at Santa Anita Park in Racetrack in Arcadia, a city close to the Eaton fire, is still ongoing.
Thousands of people looking to offer a helping hand to those impacted by the Los Angeles wildfires showed up at a huge donation center at the Santa Anita Park Racetrack in Arcadia, a city close to the Eaton fire. Volunteers waited in long lines for a chance to help with sorting through mountains of donations that included clothing, water, diapers, tinned and dry food. This is Jennifer Denhartog, a 48-year-old school teacher from Long Beach.
I just needed to come out and do something to help people. sorry. I feel so bad for the people. So just wanted to come help somebody. That's all I can do. I can't give a bunch of money, but I can come and give my time.
The Santa Anita effort began when a street vendor announced on TikTok that he wanted to serve hot dogs to firefighters. People who had been inundated with images of destruction jumped at a chance to do something positive and flooded the donation center. 6-year-old Oliver Lee came to volunteer with his dad and was helping by handing out bottles of water.
The worst part about the fire was my dad's school is getting burned down. Kids cannot go to school. Kids and grown-ups are homeless. They don't have anywhere to live.
You know, he's been watching this on the TV with me as well. And he's been asking what's going on, what's up with the fire. And then today we woke up, the air was okay. And we were like, let's go help. We have to. Because we could easily be the next victims.
The overflowing donation center was just one of many relief efforts across the region.
My family and we all came out because we want to give back to our city. We gratefully weren't as affected as far as tangible, things being burned down and things like that. But I think the whole city is affected, whether you've actually had your belongings burnt or not. So, I mean, you can smell the soot in the air, and we were just wanting to get out and do something, like feel active, that we're actually giving back in some way and supporting the community, feeling part of a community. I think that's a big part of it.
And talking about when it all started, during the initial hours when the Eaton fire raged through Altadena early on Wednesday, January 8th, burning thousands of structures, evacuees parked their cars in the parking lot at the Rose Bowl, taking refuge and unsure of what to do next. Jimmy Medina Jr., the street vendor who served hot dogs to firefighters, spent 48 hours sleeping there with others, and after speaking with his father and other friends, decided to start serving food to people in need during a frightening time. He said that his live broadcast on TikTok activated would-be helpers who had been inundated by the algorithm with scenes of destruction and chaos and needed a way to feel as if they were doing something positive in the moment.
With the power of social media to the people on TikTok that watches us live, it started with their donations. We told them, we announced what we were going to go do, and we got donations like, man, I think about $300 to $400. We started out with like 300-400 hot box with 2 cars, and from there it just blew up to this. The next day it just got bigger and bigger, and then we're here now.
Throughout the day, as donations and support kept pouring in, the donation center outgrew its space and was asked to move to a parking lot nearby, and then was told to move again to a large parking lot at Santa Anita Park. Despite the frustration for some having to move throughout the day, volunteers and vendors offering free food remained positive.
It's really important for humanity to come together because at the end of the day, all we have is each other. To, help each other out and rely on each other because at hard times like this, we need all the love, from the people.
Medina's father and owner of Tacos Los Huge Holes Taco Cart, Jimmy Medina Sr., said they served 600 of his signature hot dogs to victims and firefighters at the Rose Bowl.
We started doing a little hot dog cart, and then the fire department started coming, the sheriffs, people, the electrical guys. There was all type of people we were feeding. We fed over 600 people. 600 hot dogs, sorry. We did like 600 hot dogs. And of course, we heard the testimony of the persons, how they lost their place. It was very emotional. We seen it all, man. We seen it all. And the next day, I brought my grill. We started doing breakfast burrito. And then everybody came.
Hundreds of volunteers are busy in the parking lot with the haze of wildfire smoke looming in the skies above.
I think it's times like this where your neighbor is one of the most important people. This all just started because some people decided that they wanted to help their fellow neighbor out. The government hasn't come in yet to assist, and so this is all just neighbors helping neighbors, which is really, really nice to see, especially like during a time where we're really divided on various issues, and this is something that everybody out here was just like, we want to help our neighbor.
Firefighters continue to race to contain the frontiers of the Los Angeles wildfires that have been burning for several days. Over 20 people have died in what California Governor Gavin Newsom says could be the most devastating natural disaster in U.S. history, one that has destroyed thousands of homes and forced thousands of people to evacuate.
Well, bringing some form of cheer to those affected, the Magic Castle, an exclusive clubhouse for magicians and magic enthusiasts, brought a little magic to individuals and families impacted by the wildfires. The iconic venue, which LA residents can only attend with a member of the establishment, opened its doors to anyone displaced, offering them all kinds of supplies from clothing and shoes to toiletries and pet food. While the parents got supplies, the children of the displaced were entertained by magicians and balloon sculptors. Hervey Levy, the general manager of the Magic Castle, says that they just want to make people smile.
We just wanted to give a smile to people coming in right now, so we had 3 or 4 strolling magicians to come in and at least perform a few card tricks for people coming in, and at least, you know, to get some positivity inside this, inside the situation. So we do have a one aisle where people can just drive in and they can drive through, and then they can pick up water, soda, batteries, flashlights, and pet food, and then they can go downstairs and pick up, shoes for their kids and toys. We do have Vents who is donating over 1,000 pieces of clothing and shoes. We have a lot of brand new items such like sheets and pillows, necessity that people need, right now. When you see that those people were left the house without anything, the only thing they have right now is what they were wearing that morning. Oh, we were very scared. We had a few volunteers coming in with a hose and tried to water down the castle as much as they could to add some moistures and also the greenery around it before they were going to evacuate. But when we saw that the castle was not going that direction and it was going a different direction, we all relaxed a little bit and we were able to evacuate everyone safely.
Magic is so cool, and it's just like fun to watch and stuff like that, so it really takes your mind off of everything that's happening.
Yeah, that's the key, the distraction. Same with sports,
Well, a cat cafe in Los Angeles is offering free 15-minute cat cuddling sessions to help people affected by the city's ongoing wildfires relieve their stress. According to Haley Collins, lead host of the Crumbs and Whiskers, the sessions are for anyone who wants to hang out with the kitties because the fire has been very stressful. Crumbs and Whiskers rescues cats and kittens from euthanasia as high-kill shelters and houses them in their cafe. Then they were there to encourage people to play with them to make them more friendly and adoptable. Taking advantage of the free cuddles on Tuesday, January the 14th, were 2 friends from high school in Los Angeles who now live abroad and were reuniting in the city when the wildfires struck.
Our 15-minute sessions are open for anyone who wants to come in and hang out with the kitties. We know that the fire has been very stressful. Even if you haven't been personally impacted by it, you're totally welcome to still come on by and hang out with the kitties. It's definitely stressful for everyone keeping track of the fires, even if it's not directly affecting them at the moment. So as you can see, we have some very sweet kitties in here, and it can just be a really peaceful and de-stressing experience to come hang out with the kitties. It's also just a great way to get people's minds off of what's going on at the moment in LA. And it's a great way to help socialize our kitties, so we really appreciate people who come in and hang out with them.
Everyone needs to de-stress right now with everything going on. Just like cuddle some kitties.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's very intense times. So definitely to caress kitties is the very good solution, I would say, right now.
Welcome back. Israelis are expressing caution and optimism that a deal on a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and the release of hostages held there is close after 15 months of devastating war. Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson said on Tuesday that there were no major issues blocking a deal between Israel and Hamas, and that the indirect talks in Doha were focused on the final details of reaching an agreement. An Israeli government official said the talks had made real progress and entered a critical and sensitive period, while Hamas said that it was satisfied with the status of the negotiations. Israelis on the streets of Tel Aviv say their government should get the hostages back at any cost.
Our goal is to take out all the hostages from the Hamas, bring home Israel. So the goal, okay, is to do to sign on the engagement, to sign on the deal with Hamas in order to bring home all the hostages to come back home. I think from political and also from a military purpose, I think we have a sufficient perimeter that we can defend the Israeli citizens on this time period until all of the hostages will come back home to their family.
Israel is strong enough to deal whatever it takes afterward, but first of all, it's we must do everything to bring back the hostages, because this is the deal that the country does with their citizens to keep them safe wherever they are.
I think most of us here are very much hoping for a ceasefire. It's difficult because we're giving some really terrible people away. They should be locked up, but you have to make a deal. What's the most important thing is that we get our hostages back, and the country can begin to recover from what happened to us last year.
I think it's very important to bring the hostages back home, okay, as soon as possible, and it's a good deal, and we need to take it.
And what do you think? Probably Hamas will take the time, like a ceasefire, like a time for them to do something else? Don't you afraid that probably it will be not so good for Israel?
I'm afraid it could be, but we need to bring them back any price, even if it means to stop the war. So we need to stop the war. Just need to get them back, and then we need to deal with with the situation.
I've lived in Israel for almost 50 years, and I think that this ceasefire should have happened a long time ago, and all of our hostages should have been returned. This war has been a tragedy from the outset, and the sooner that we can find some kind of diplomatic solution to our problems that we have here between us and our neighbors, the better it will be. And I pray that we're going to make progress very, very soon, and that all of our hostages will be returned soon.
In the meantime, a meeting of the Global Alliance for the Implementation of the Two-State Solution has opened in Oslo, Norway. The meeting about an Israeli-Palestinian two-state solution opened with comments by Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa, Norway's Foreign Minister Espen Barth, and the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency Chief Filipe Lazzarini. The meeting comes as negotiators are trying to hammer out the final details of the complex phased ceasefire in Gaza. That's after marathon talks in Qatar aiming to end the conflict that has inflicted widespread death and destruction and upended the Middle East. If successful, the planned phased ceasefire, called Halt Fighting, that has decimated Gaza, killing tens of thousands of Palestinians, displacing most of the enclave's pre-war population of 2.3 million, and is still killing dozens of people every day.
There are very serious signs of a possibly imminent ceasefire in Gaza. We will not celebrate before it's there, but the messages we are getting from all sides is way more concrete and promising than what we've heard before, so we might actually be very close. Yes, we've heard it before, but I allow for some more optimism this time around. That would, of course, be extremely welcome, because a ceasefire is a prerequisite for all the work that we want to do. A ceasefire means very welcome release of hostages, of hostages held by Hamas in Gaza, of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel in Israeli prisons, end of hostilities, withdrawal of troops, of some troops, maps to be agreed, etc. This would be very good, but it's not the solution, because there is no way back to turn the clock back to the 6th of October 2023. That was not a stable solution either.
Despite the severity of the crisis, this moment offers a crucial chance to act decisively. With recognition, accountability, and international solidarity as our foundation, we can transform despair into hope and adversity into tangible progress. The time has come to take practical measures that advance the two-state solution, address the root causes of this conflict, and directly confront the legality of the Israeli occupation and its ongoing violation of international law.
UNRWA is a powerful tool to ensure a viable political transition. I therefore urge you to do your utmost to shield the agency from the political attacks and financial challenges that threaten to abruptly end its life-saving work. Though we have very little time left, we cannot afford to fail Palestinian aspiration.
Joining us now is the Professor of History and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos, Professor David Awurawo. Thank you very much for joining us on The World Today, Professor.
Thank you.
What do you make of the Gaza ceasefire deal that Qatar, the mediator, says is really, really close?
To begin with, it's something that we must accept with cautious optimism. Nobody is sure yet of whether the deal will be signed, but there are high hopes that the deal will be signed in the next 24 hours or so, and that implementation will likely commence over the weekend. It's a welcome document. It's a welcome. We've looked through. The terms are clear, and both sides seem ready to accept it, even though there are positions on both sides as well. There are some sticky points that have not been clearly hammered out. But broadly, both sides seem to have accepted that there should be a deal to have a ceasefire, so that those who are suffering in Gaza can have a reprieve, and hopefully in the long run, after as the deal recommends from the draft we have seen, after 16 days we're going to negotiate long term to bring the war to an end and bring some stability to that area.
And talking about bringing the war to an end, Professor, we know that this is just the first draft of the deal to happen over the next 6 weeks. In your own expert opinion, do you think that this will bring an actual end to the war?
It could bring the war to an end because, the fighting has gone on now for 1 year, 3 months and a week. And both sides seem tired of fighting. Israel has gone on and on and on. The objective that Israel seeks to achieve, which is to obliterate Hamas, does not seem to be something that will materialize. And Hamas, who knows that the destruction in Gaza goes on. For instance, in the last 24 hours, over 50 people are said to have been killed. This is winter. People in Gaza don't have a home. They are in different camps, and they are suffering terribly. That is a place where people are saying that the living are probably envying the dead. So with all of the conditions on ground at both ends of the fight, it seems that after 16 days, after hostages are released, 33 on the part of Hamas and some hundreds on the part of Israel, they should begin to negotiate. After 42 days, a total withdrawal by Israel would take place. And of course, humanitarian aid will come to Gaza people will be able to move to the north of the Gaza Strip and to return to their homes and normal life. All of these things are welcome aspects of the deal, which will encourage the negotiation leading to bringing the war to an end finally.
But some analysts are already predicting the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu might not be willing to sign that deal yet, though its officials are already talking about making progress in that deal. Some say that he's just waiting for the United States President Donald Trump to be sworn in. What benefits will this have if it is true? We know that Israel and U.S. are great allies.
I don't think that Netanyahu is not willing to sign the deal. In actuality, it is pressure from Trump's men. Of course, Antony Blinken, the foreign secretary, and then Stephen Witkoff, the one representing Trump in negotiation. More than anything else, his pressure on Netanyahu has led to accepting this deal. So it is not true that Netanyahu will be hoping that after Trump is sworn in on the 20th, things will change. Rather, Trump seemed to have surprised the Israelis, because in his first time in office, he gave conflicting support, which led to the feeling that Trump will support Netanyahu's bid to totally destroy Hamas and continue the war on and on. But from the way Trump and his representatives have gone on in this negotiation, it is clear that Trump wants the war to come to an end. Rather, those who may cut through the deal at the right wing, the coalition of the government in Israel, they might. But Netanyahu seems willing and ready to sign the deal, and it seems that the deal will be signed and implementation will commence in the next few days.
Let's talk about the outline of the Gaza ceasefire and the hostage release deal currently being discussed by Israel and Hamas at indirect talks in Doha. It's been on the table since the month of May last year. So why do you think that there is a fresh anticipation that it could work this time after being frozen for 8 months of the war?
Basically, pressure from within Israel. That is, pressure from relatives of those who have been held hostage. They have been consistent in pressurizing the government since October 2023. Second is America's pressure. Like I said before, under Biden, efforts have been made over these couple of months to negotiate this ceasefire. And the thought of the Israeli government, Netanyahu and the rest, was that Trump will support Netanyahu's objective of totally obliterating Hamas. But Trump has surprised them by sending Stephen Witkoff to go and tell them that both sides should sign a deal and look for a way to bring this war to an end. So it is actually pressure, both from within, that is relatives of those who have been held hostage, and from the U.S., Biden and his group on the one hand, and then now Trump surprising the Israelis by saying that we want that this war to come to an end. These are the things that are changed the equation, which is making the 8-month-old negotiation to be coming to fruition. Hopefully in the next 24 hours, we have a deal signed, and hopefully after 16 days, negotiations will go on to get a permanent ceasefire that will bring the war to an end.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor David Awarawo. We're hoping for the best. Thanks for your time on The World Today. So, Professor of History and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos. Thanks again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we're back in the United States, where federal and local officials are discussing security measures ahead of Donald Trump's inauguration in Washington, D.C. next week. Security measures include more than 30 miles of anti-scale fence, drones, and the aid of agents and other specialists around the country to provide a full slate of visible and invisible security measures. Officials are saying that there are going to be nearly 250,000 guests attending that inauguration. Also, a number of demonstrations are expected in downtown area of D.C.
As you well know, every 4 years, our city supports the peaceful transition of power. We are proud of that responsibility and grateful to our federal partners, local agencies, and community members who work together to ensure a safe event. We are here today to discuss preparations for the upcoming 60th presidential inauguration.
More than 30 miles of anti-scale fence will be used for the inauguration, more than any other NSSE ever before. The Secret Service's comprehensive security plan will continue to use drones as part of our protective posture. Do not be alarmed if you see these assets during the inauguration or in training in the days ahead. The Secret Service will bring agents and other specialists from field offices across the country to provide a full slate of visible and invisible security measures. We work side by side with our partners throughout the process as everyone plays an equal part in safeguarding this event.
There are going to be nearly 250,000 ticketed guests attending the inauguration. In addition to that, there will be folks that are showing up to participate in a number of demonstrations that will be in the downtown area. The biggest threat, I think, for all of us remains the lone actor. Just in the past week, while President Carter was lying in state, we had 2 lone actors show up at the Capitol, one trying to bring in knives and a machete, another one who was trying to, what I believe, to disrupt the proceedings by setting their car on fire down in the Peace Circle area. U.S. Capitol Police were able to interdict these folks before they had a chance to do any harm. But that threat of the lone actor remains the biggest justification for us being at this heightened state of alert throughout the next week.
We are not currently tracking any specific or credible threats to the inaugural ceremony or to the Capitol complex. We will continue to work closely with our partners to share information and identify and disrupt any threats that may emerge. As always, we remind the public to remain vigilant and report suspicious activity to law enforcement.
Our entire police department will be activated for the presidential inauguration. In addition, we'll be reinforced with nearly 4,000 officers from across the United States who were generous enough to raise their hands and commit their time to assist the Metropolitan Police Department. Those additional resources will be deployed to manage traffic, secure dignitary routes, and ensure public safety in our city. We will have 7,800 National Guard members that will be activated across the district to assist with the inauguration. This is not just at the request of the Metropolitan Police Department, but at the U.S. Secret Service and those who are under the Security Special Inauguration event for today. That MPD will ensure your right to peacefully protest and assemble. However, I want to reiterate, as I always have, that violence, destruction, and unlawful behavior will not be tolerated. Offenders will face swift and decisive consequences.
In the meantime, incoming First Lady Melania Trump said that she is ready for the transition to the White House as inauguration for Donald Trump's second terms continue to come closer. Well, Melania Trump was interviewed on the Fox News program Fox and Friends, where she said that this transition felt smoother than the previous one in 2017 and that she is prepared to move in. She also confirmed that she intends for the White House to be her main residence and is currently in the process of hiring staff.
With me, we didn't have much of the information. The information was upheld for us from previous administration, but this time I have everything. I have the plans. I could move in. I already packed. I already selected the furniture that needs to go in. So it's very different transition this time. I feel I was always me the first time as well. I just feel that people didn't accept me maybe. I have my own thoughts. I have my own yes and no. I don't always agree what my husband is saying or doing, and that's okay. I will be in the White House, and when I need to be in New York, I will be in New York. When I need to be in Palm Beach, I will be in Palm Beach. But my My first priority is, to be a mom, to be a first lady, to be a wife. And once we are in on January 20, it's you serve the country. I don't want to hire too many people on my team and spending too much taxpayer money. I want to make sure that every position, they are talented, they have merit, they know what they're doing, and as well as they are team player. They don't have their own agenda, so they're serving me, they're serving my office, and they're serving the country.
Welcome back. Let's continue the world today back here in Nigeria. The country is marking the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day, a day set aside to remember Nigeria's fallen heroes. The mood at the iconic Eagle Square in Abuja is somber and reflective as top government officials stood still to honor the unmatched patriotism and sacrifices of the fallen soldiers. At the ceremony, top functionaries, including the Vice President Kashim Shettima, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Kekere Ekun, Minister of the FCT Nyesom Wike, the Minister of Defense and State for Defense, as well as service chiefs laid wreath at the Eagle Square. This was followed by a gun salute and then release of the white pigeons in commemoration of the celebration. President Bola Tinubu has called on the armed forces to embrace innovation and adaptability in addressing security challenges in the country. He made this known in the UAE, where he is attending the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. Still on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Nigeria, the Lagos State Deputy Governor Kadri Hamzat has assured the Nigerian Legion of continuous support and improvement on their welfare. The Deputy Governor made this comment at the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day ceremony at Tafawa Balewa Square on Lagos Island. He says that those still in service and officers who have sacrificed themselves for the will not be forgotten and their loved ones will be taken care of.
January 15th is a day set aside to honor troops who lost their lives in the line of duty while defending the territorial integrity of the country. The celebration for the Armed Forces Remembrance Day is at the Tafawa Balewa Square. The Lagos State Deputy Governor, Kadri Hamzat, is here for the ceremony. He inspects the Guard of Honor. Next is the wreath laying, led by the Deputy Governor, Executive Council members, and military personnel. pigeons are released into the air. The representatives of the Nigerian Legion and the widows call for better welfare for military officers.
One of the things is to keep the memory alive and kind of mark the memory of the fallen heroes and celebrate the armed forces generally. Another way is a way of expressing the gratitude of the living ex-servicemen, that is the military veterans. Their gratitude to the government and those that are supporting them, and still request for more support in order to fulfill the obligation of the Legion, which is the representative of the Nigerian ex-servicemen welfare in Nigeria.
Wives of the fallen heroes should be highly honored. The kind of reception they are giving us is not even fair. We are not properly recognized. It's our own husbands that fought and died for this nation. So they should be given more awareness on a day like this. We want the Lagos State to come to our aid. We have so many of our children that finish school. To get employment is a problem. Even some of them that wishes to join the force, they don't have that opportunity. The army have tried their best. They have given us sponsorship and they have paid us gratuity. But the states where we reside can still help us again.
The state government says the military officers will not be neglected.
Every year we do this in honor of our fallen heroes. We all know they sacrificed their lives so that we can all sleep. So it's an honor for them and we pray for them. And we also use this time to remember, this is the culmination when Mr. President launched this emblem, that Nigerians should also contribute because those people left people behind. They are widows. So a lot of us, we should take some of the children and be responsible for some of their things. So it's not just about this parade, it's about that process. And we just hope that Nigerians will eat so that we can always help to sustain our fallen heroes. So that basically is the essence of this, to remember and to tell them that we will never be forgotten.
The Lagos State government says the service of officers and soldiers will not be taken for granted and will always be supported to improve their services for the people.
Well, we'll say well done and thank you to all those still in service and to those who have fallen. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and with the family. Away from that to health matters now, a suspected outbreak of the Marburg virus in northwest Tanzania has infected the people, killing 8 of them. This comes several weeks after an outbreak of the disease was declared over in neighboring Rwanda. A viral hemorrhagic fever has a fatality rate of as high as 88%. It is from the same family of the one responsible for Ebola. It is transmitted to people from fruit bats, which are endemic to the part of East Africa. The WHO has said it received reliable reports of suspected cases in the Kagera region of Tanzania on January the 10th, with symptoms of headache, high fever, back pain, diarrhea, vomiting, blood, muscle weakness, and finally, external bleeding. Oscar Carey Dilbera, a retired Argentinian mechanic, has created a car from 1,000 spark plugs and other recycled metal materials in Cordoba. But as well as the many spark plugs, bodywork of that car consists of many different types of scrap metal, like keys and spanners. Well, Oscar says that he has been using it for 3.5 years and never has a spark plug come off. Well, at his workshop, he has many other creations from recycled parts like large statues, animals and other smaller figurines, all crafted from metal nuts, bolts, spark plugs and other things. Dilbera says that he had offers to buy the car in particular, but he was unable to part with it and will be a legacy for his children and his grandchildren to enjoy.
Me dejaba hacer una zorrita, viste, a pedal para que los chicos. Y bueno. El baúl está hecho, como no tiene burlete, se ha puesto unos ganchos para que haga presión, para que no haga ruido, ¿eh? horno gancho funciona lo mismo. Con dos bielas.
Now that's an exceptional way to recycle waste, but it's commendable. And that's it on The World Today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Onwawade. See you again tomorrow.